Hi everyone and welcome to tonight's General Hospital recap. As always, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any of our videos or recaps. Let's get right to it. So at the hospital, Mr. Ellis has died, unfortunately, and Oprah keeps calling Dr. Finn incompetent, and she thinks that he was grossly negligent. With what? He had like every single test run twice, and she gave him a hard time for that, but now he's grossly negligent? Okay. Carly comes back over. She's not a fan of Obrecht, to say the least, and she shows him the printout she made of the employees that were working the day of Jocelyn's transplant. He will help with figuring out who could have been involved, but nothing more, which I don't think she would need much more. And Obrecht tells Dr. Finn that Mr. Ellis's family denied an autopsy, but she's still reporting the death to the chief of staff. And he's like, fine, go for it. Let's do a full investigation. Figure out what happened. Like, go away, lady. At Jordan's place, Jordan and Andre are reconciled, to say the least, and her white noise machine comes on, and it's just this like really funny moment. And then when he leaves the room, she has 8 messages, and she calls Dante. More in a minute on that. But she does head off to the PCPD, and Andre heads off to do his late night psychology work. Don't know what that is. At Lante's place, Lulu and Rocco have moved back in, and she's happy to be back with him. And she's like, anywhere where you are is home. And he's like, speaking of that, I have a surprise for you. And I'm like, oh, just pull a Patrick and like buy a plot of land and be like, we're going to build our house here. But they're both not doctors, so I guess that's kind of unrealistic. By the way, like, is anyone else like upset that like Patrick and Robin never got to build that house on the plot of land? Sorry, that's like from years ago, but it still upsets me. Anyway, so he wants to look into a bigger place, and they're just so happy. Like, they're on the couch, and I'm like, this is what I like to see. Okay. And Jordan calls Dante about the witness, so he fills her in on the Alexis stuff, and she thinks the OD is pretty convenient too. And he has a word out for witnesses at the Metro Court, and there's a security footage, and she asks him to run to the station now to see if there's anything. At the BCBD, Maxie's kind of driving Nathan up the wall with wedding plans a little bit, and Maxie has Claudette's name and address. Yeah, that no good can come of this. So Carlos wants Paul's help, and he tells him about the interaction with Sonny in the holding cells, and he wants Paul to get him out right now. So Paul makes show of getting him transferred, but he slips him a pen and paperclip. Jordan has arrived at the station. Paul shows her the transfer papers, and Nathan offers to escort the transfer, and Dante's gonna join in because yeah, might as well have both your lead detectives, like, just go escort a transfer. And Carlos isn't happy that Dante's involved because, Sonny. So in the car ride, on the car, whatever, I can't think of words right now. So Carlos is working on his handcuffs, and all he wants to do is live in peace with Sabrina. He gets himself free, and for some reason the driver feels the need to look back and like get involved, even though there's 2 competent detectives in the back, and the car has crashed. At the hospital, Andre comes in. Oh, I guess that is a little out of order. Oh well, but I didn't know until the end scene, so it doesn't count. So at the hospital, Andre comes in, and he wants to talk to Dr. Finn about Mr. Ellis's death, and he had like kind of known Mr. Ellis, and like knew that he was like coming in because he was lonely and all that. And Dr. Finn does make a remark about death being a release, and Andre's like, really now? Interesting. And I'm like, It's like when Silas like made the slip about Rafe, and like no, that was Patrick. Patrick made this about how like he considered for a second in Rafe's surgery, and Silas was involved because that was his nephew. I knew Silas was involved somewhere with that. But anyway, back at Lante's, Maxie comes over, and she's so happy that they're back together. And she wants Lulu to be her maid of honor. I'm not apologizing. It is late. At Sonny's place, Jason comes over, and he tells him he spoke to Michael, and there was like a bargain in play, but he doesn't think Michael went through with anything. And Sonny is sure Julian had the witness killed, and Jason's like, well, for the sake of my home life and me, that's really not my business or my problem. And Sunny, like, doesn't understand because, like, he kind of has involved himself and then he keeps pulling back. And, like, Sunny's like, he says, like, he makes a snarky remark and Jason's like, oh, okay. Like, that's how it's going to be. And then Carly arrives and they talk about Jason and, like, how he shuts down and all that jazz. End scene, woo! So Andre thinks it's a strange attitude for Dr. Finn to have. Because doctors are, like, supposed to fight death. And he noticed that he's pale. But he says, Dr. Finn's like, I'm as good as I'm gonna be considering the circumstances. And he wants time to reflect. And by reflect, he means get his big scary syringe out and inject himself with God knows what. Oh, my hand looks photoshopped in here. Sorry. Anyway, so Maxie's going to meet with designers in New York City to find a dress. I wouldn't expect anything less of her. And she has other business in New York, and she tells Lulu she knows where Claudette is, and she's going to go see her. And I'm like, this is a really bad idea. Jordan is still hopeful for the case if Paul still wants to prosecute it. Carly wants Sunny to trust the justice system. And we see the accident scene with the police car, well, the police escort. And apparently, the driver, when he was like, oh, what's going on back here, hit someone on a motorcycle. Someone named Jason. So that's not good. That's like the opposite of good. That's very, very bad. But what if it knocks all of his memories back? Oh my god. Okay. Anyway, thank you so much for watching today's video and watching this week. Fridays normally will not be this late. I just had a thing after work. But I will see you Monday for more General Hospital. Don't forget to leave your vote in the comments for Character of the Week. I will announce the winner on Monday. And I hope you have a great day. Bye.